Today, Kathy and I have been enjoying a beautiful drive from Dawson City up in the Yukon down to Carmacks and taking in the luscious gold fall colors as far as the eye can see, and watching the Yukon River gather water from its tributaries and usher them out to the Bering Sea. It's just a beautiful place to be and drive through. I also been giving a lot of thought to these laws of God I mentioned earlier that Christian Science teaches about and enables one to pray a prayer that heals. And one of these laws that is very special to me is the law of life. The law of life teaches that God is our life, and God is spirit, as Jesus taught. So therefore our life is in spirit. And that which is in spirit is indestructible. There isn't anything in the so-called material world that can hurt, harm, or destroy our life in spirit. And what Christian Science explains is that as you understand this law of life, which Jesus practiced and demonstrated over and over again, you can overcome threats to life in the human experience, neutralize them, and prevent hurt or harm. For example, here's a wonderful experience I had back when I was much younger. I was a college student at the time, and I would come home during summer break to work for my dad on the family farm. And one evening I was spraying a very hazardous pesticide on a clover field. And I had on all the garb to protect myself, the head mask, the gas mask, and the full garb and the boots and everything. And everything was going fine until the pump quit working on the sprayer. Well, at that point I had to drive the sprayer back to the shop to fix the pump. And when I got to the shop, I took off my gas mask, which was fine. There was nothing wrong with that. But as I was working on the pump, I loosened a couple of bolts that I should not have. And the top of the pump blew off and chemical exploded right into my face. I was looking right at it. Put me into a state of shock, honestly. And the pain in my eyes from the chemical was so severe, I couldn't hardly stand it. The smell was overwhelming me, and I was gasping for breath, and all kinds of horrifying pictures went through my mind as a result of this unexpected accident. Well, the very first place I went, though, in my thought was, God is my life. And that was my way of invoking this law of God called the law of life, that my life was in spirit. And I knew that. Outwardly, the situation did not look good. Like I say, the pain in my eyes, I couldn't stand it. And when I tried to open my eyes, I couldn't see. One eye appeared to be blind and the other was all grayed over. And I was all alone. No one was there to help. And there I stood in the middle of a large gravel parking lot. But I had great faith in God. I believed in these laws of God. And I believed that prayer could heal me. So I started to think about what Jesus Christ would have had to say about this, and I remembered some of his words where he said, "To those who believe, if they drink any deadly thing, it shall not hurt them." And I thought, well, from a physical point of view, this chemical was very deadly. But from a spiritual point of view, there was this law of life in place that could neutralize the effect of that chemical and spare me harm. And that's where I went with my prayer, to know that God's law of life, of love, was there to protect me from harm from this accident. And as I prayed that prayer, I did start to find peace very rapidly, started to calm down and gain my sense of composure there. And soon I turned and walked toward the water hydrant. And I really couldn't see, and I was doing this kind of thing in my eyes anyway. But eventually I found the water hydrant, hosed myself off, and sat down. I still couldn't see. And the pain in my eyes was just searing. But I sat there on the ground, very calm, and I just prayed this prayer to know that God was my life, that God gave me my vision. My vision was spiritual. It couldn't be taken from me, that nothing had changed really between me and God. Everything was the same. I was the same spiritual man I've always been, and I could trust in that truth. As I sat there and prayed with that truth, the pain did leave my eyes. My vision did return. I felt complete peace of mind. In about 20 minutes, I felt perfectly normal. My vision was perfect. I got up, packed my tools, went home, took a shower. That was the end of it. And I truly was healed completely of that experience in all ways, and so grateful to know that God was there. So that's one example of putting these laws of God into practice, this law of life. It's available for anyone to put into practice, for you. If you feel there's something threatening your life right now, you too can put this law of life into practice and find healing. Christian Science teaches you how to do it.